switching gears to the NBA, we talked about it a little bit with the in-season tournament, finally kind of bringing some big games, or that was the goal, to bring some big games this season early on. And this is exactly what we got, man. We got to still keep getting big games. We finally have the in-season tournament bracket set. Yep. We've got the Lakers and the Suns going against each other on the on the west side again. We've got the Kings versus the Pelicans. After the Kings just had a great miraculous comeback against the Warriors last night with Malik Monk hitting a crazy game winner. We'll get into the Warriors in here in just a second. On the east side, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Knicks and the Pacers, the upstart Pacers versus the Celtics and Chris's team. We said we was going to get into it once we got into the bracket to kind of see how it's going. A couple teams we did pick to get in this week that did get in from our predictions. Who are you guys predicting that are going to win and get into the championship at this point?
Ooh, this I'll go first. With this one. One and done makes it, makes it college style, you know what I mean? So it's like whoever gets hot will end up, taking this. So it's tough because you never know whose night it will be. I think the Suns, they won't have Bill, which I think is huge. KD, they might have KD, but he's still a little banged up. He just missed, some games or a couple games. But I'm gonna go Lakers win that one. And sticking out in the West, Kings Pelicans, I got Kings winning. And ultimately, I got the Kings making it out the West. I got the Kings making it to the championship in the West. I think Lakers struggle with fast, athletic guards. I think we've seen that over and over again. And I think that'll rear its head, especially in this tournament. On the East side, I got the Bucks beating the Knicks, and I got the Celtics beating the Pacers. And I got the Celtics. I got the Celtics winning that one against the Bucks. In a very close game down the stretch. I think JT steps up, and championship, I'm gonna go Kings. Sacramento. Hey, Chris, light that beam.
Okay, Chris, what say you?
So, I got the Kings winning their first game. I got the Suns winning against the Lakers. I think they're gonna turn some heads on that one, and so it's gonna be them two. I got the Bucks beating the Knicks, and then I got the Celtics beating the Pacers for that side, and then to end up in the championship, I got Sacramento, and then on the other side, I got the Bucks. I got the Bucks on the other side. Only really because we're not gonna have Kristaps for a little bit. And I don't know.
Being the Celtics.
You said what?
I said we're being the Celtics.
Yeah, my bad. Celtics, my bad. I can't even see it on the back side, but yeah, you see that. Yeah, but so I think the Bucks gonna pull it out. It's gonna be a good game though. I think that's gonna be a Eastern Conference preview. Just gonna say that, but it's gonna be a good game, and then it's gonna be King versus Bucks, and I got the Bucks.
Okay.
So the first game, I'm gonna start off just like you guys did with the Lakers versus the Suns. I was very nervous about this because we obviously have already seen two Lakers and Suns games, both kind of be pretty great and come down to the wire. With the Suns, taking early leads and then ultimately Bron coming through in the end. I think that once again happens again. The Lakers have been one of the teams that have completely taken the in-season tournament seriously. And it seems seemingly the only time that they've played super well aside from against the Pistons. The Kings Pelicans was kind of tough because the Kings don't have anybody that can deal with Zion. And I think this is an opportunity for Zion to get his name back into the little bit of the limelight. There was one point in time when he first came in the league, they were saying Zion was a top 10 player in the league. And now he's playing well, but you don't really hear anything about Zion aside from him and Ryan Mills. Shout out Mariah Mills. But
Yo,
at this point,
that's
I think it's
crazy
a great
to shout her out though.
shout out Mariah Mills.
Facts.
Hey, put us on the map. Shout out to Speak Up Sports Podcast. Everybody be on your Instagram, Twitter, and shit. Don't say nothing crazy. Don't show nothing. We don't want to see nothing crazy.
Speak up, Mariah. Yeah.
You can come join us on the podcast. You can speak up about Zion.
Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I'm gonna ride with the Pelicans. I think the Pelicans pulled this one out. Pause and they ultimately beat the Kings. But I do agree with you. If it is the Kings versus the Lakers, they're gonna get after them boys. But on the East side, sticking with the same Bucks versus the Celtics. The Pacers are a really good offensive team, but I think they're going to be shut down by the Celtics, and I really just don't think the Knicks have an opportunity against the Bucks for real. With that being said, I'm sticking with the Lakers. I think they've completely taken the in-season tournament seriously, and I think that they continue to take it seriously, and I think they handle the Pelicans pretty well. Also, one thing I wanted to mention with the Pelicans versus the Kings, CJ McCollum will be back. Hopefully,
that's a good point.
I think he's playing. I think he might be playing tonight for his first game back, but he'll be back, so that'll be a big boost for them. And by then, he should have a little bit of rhythm after a couple games under his belt. But I'm going with the Lakers to make the championship versus the Bucks, and I also have the Bucks pulling it out. But we'll. As we talked about early in the season, we'll see the inverse of that at the end of the season. The Lakers and Celtics. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, this doesn't. That's why I think this in-season tournament is nothing but good. This doesn't hurt anything. You know what I mean? These are still games that count. Regardless.
And there's some good games that resulted from the teams that didn't make it either. Like there's I know for a fact the Cavs played the Heat and Orlando, who have been a really good team to start the season.
Orlando, man, goodness.
One of the best. I think they might still be number one defense in the league thus far, but definitely one of the best defenses thus far. I mean, they're kind of due. We'll see if they'll be able to keep it up the whole season, but I mean, they've been stocking talent. Jalen Suggs, Paolo, Franz Wagner, and all them. Fultz and. They've got a lot of talent over there.
Gary Harris over there. They got talent. Yeah.
They might have to start looking to package some of those guys to maybe get like a solidify somebody, a star to come over there. Maybe a Paul George, maybe a Kawhi, because the Clippers looking.
But this is the tournament thing. I really like it. It took me by surprise. I didn't think it would take off like it did, but like you said, every tournament game folks been playing dead ass serious. Like it wasn't it's just another game. Nah, it felt different, and I think the NBA needed that, especially with the whole situation of resting players and players not always playing every game, and you might have a random Celtics Magic game. Nobody want to go see that because none of your players playing, but now they're playing. It's like, okay, it's more exciting now. So I like that aspect. I still am interested to see how does that play in, like, future legacies. I won the in-season tournament. Like, I got a trophy for that. Like, I wonder how that plays
into it. Yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
I wonder how that plays in the future.
I think it'll also one thing. The championship game is going to be the kind of determiner for that if that's going to work. It's once we see how that championship game, if it's looking like a legitimate playoff game, like a legitimate we trying to get this, it's going to turn a lot of people up, and so that'll be and really all of these games.
Yeah, I think it starts. I think it'll start on Monday. Yeah.
So all of the games will be interesting to see.
It's all interesting. They got a championship in Vegas. That's a good thing.
There's another. They in there for the whole week. Like that's pretty freaking cool, man. I wish
Vegas is gonna be buzzing next year. Speak up next year live from Vegas for the in-season tournament.
Hey, let's go.
But with that being said, one of the teams that didn't make the in-season tournament that had an opportunity to last night. We talked about it with the big game winner from Malik Monk last night. The Warriors, man. I picked them to miss the playoffs this year. I gave my reasoning, which was that they were small and they were going to be heavily reliant on Steph. Thus far, that's been the story of outside of Draymond, that's been kind of the story of their season. Not enough help from Clay, not enough help from Andrew Wiggins. Draymond's been in and out and woofing. And Chris Paul is now hurt. Gary Payton's now hurt. You guys think it's the end of the dynasty?
Yeah, I mean, we said this, going into the season. That's why you had we had them low. Me and Chris had them low, in the West, and you had them missing out completely. But I think this is all like I think all of us here are not surprised that this is happening. First off, it was gonna come. Like they're getting older. We saw the last couple seasons, Clay is not the same Clay, and I think that's a big problem. I think you go out and you trade Jordan Poole, you get Chris Paul in. That's not helping much. I mean, Clay is averaging 15 points. Andrew Wiggins is averaging 12 points. Like it's just not enough.
Shooting 26% from the 3-point line for Wiggins.
It's bad, man. Draymond's not the same Draymond. Like he doesn't make that impact on the floor enough to kind of overtake what he's what's happening.
And I think that's really why he's
Draymond's not even playing basketball.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's doing.
He's trying to it feels like, not to say that he's actually doing that, but it looks like the appearance of it is that he's kind of overcompensating for his lack of on court actual contribution to the basketball court. And a part of his value is hurt with Clay not being good and Wiggins not being good, because now you're just playmaking for Steph. We saw the clips kind of circulating last night that they had an opportunity to pass up to Clay. He was wide open at the end of the game, and Steph was kind of like, nah, it ain't happening. So, and we've seen, I'm sure you guys have seen the news about how they're now saying that the contract talks have weighed on Clay. We've seen Clay kind of lashing out the past couple interviews that he's had, post game. Do you guys think that it's time to trade Clay? What do you think they can trade Clay? Not necessarily due to the value, but necessarily due to the perception, the look. You're trading. His value is probably not there, so now you're trading your second best player in history for pennies.
Just to get some assets going forward. At this point, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like you said, at this point, it's like you need to, because if you wait another year, another 2, you're gonna experience a big time frame of being ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gonna have to fix that.
And it's tough, man, because like Clay, his impact over years. He has been a part of the dynasty, So this will show how the business really is. You know what I mean? Like this is, and at the end of the day, you got to keep moving this shit forward, because Steph, like you have to maximize these last 3 to 4 years of Steph if you're really trying to be a serious organization. And what you're rolling out there every night right now is not it. So.
And they doubled down. I talked about it a couple times. They doubled down on the dynasty and going with them when they traded Jordan Poole.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's fair.
And maybe that's why their former GM decided to leave.
Saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, but Bob Myers, he got out of there. And maybe he wasn't one. Maybe he didn't want to make those decisions.
Yeah, because that's tough. It's such a tough decision to sit there and be like, maybe not some more Draymond. So much, but I don't know what his even trade value is. But like to sit there and like be like Clay, we're gonna trade you, and it's like, how does that
It's tough given the injuries that he's had, and on top of what he's done for the organization. But at this point, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Giving up a season
you can't give him another contract that he wants. You cannot give him that contract.
And I think, did you guys? I don't know if you saw the Steve Kerr interview, but he even got a little snippy too, because they asked him if about the Royals basically tailspin And he's like, it's just early in the season. It's no tailspin. It's like, nah, bro. Like you gotta
it's not
you gotta be
looking good.
real with what's going on. And people have already been, throwing stones at Steve Kerr, saying that maybe he's not as great of a coach as he the perception is, and maybe his rotations have been off, and that not only stems from the Warriors, but going back to the USA and the tough loss that they took.
Yeah.
So it's getting dark. It's getting dark. It's getting dark.
Definitely
And
getting
midnight
dark.
might hit at Christmas time. And
I would say I think you have. I really do agree with you, Chris. I think you have to move on from him. You're not going to pay him what he wants. You have to move on from him and get something.
But
Again,
so you guys don't think it's worth it to try to ride it out the season? What if they do end up making the playoffs, being like a 7 seed, 8 seed, and maybe their first round exit? Do you guys think that's more worth it than trying to, basically, because at this point, a Clay trade is going to be maybe like a second round pick in somebody, maybe. In my opinion, just because of where he's at, he has to. I mean, if you're trying to do right by Clay, you probably want to ship him to a contender. You can't really ship him to Charlotte.
And doing right by Clay will definitely get them a lower, much lower, return. But I mean,
is it just a net positive?
you gotta chalk that shit up. I don't think you can go throughout the season and be 7 seed or even miss the playoffs and be like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna pay Clay and run this shit back. Like, you got to change this shit up. You gotta get rid of Chris Paul too. I think you got to. I don't think you cannot finish the season with Chris Paul.
And that's another thing is. I mean, they don't necessarily have to do right by Chris Paul, but that's not a good look for somebody in Chris Paul's position.
Yeah.
And what he's done for his career. Obviously, like he hasn't been a Warrior for decades or anything like that, but he probably has to go to a contender as well, because I mean, or you're trying to trade him to a team that's going to buy him out, maybe.
That's probably most likely what will happen. The buyout situation with him specifically, but it's tough, man. Like it's a
Draymond too. Shit.
I don't think Draymond has any trade value, in my opinion.
I ain't say he had trade. I said get rid of him. I don't give a fuck what you do with him, man.
No, I would like to see if they do end up going for a Zach LaVine, the Lakers. I would like to see Chris Paul get traded somewhere, bought out, and sign with the Lakers. And I just want to see it.
I've seen the reports that they're looking more for Caruso and DeRozan.
Yeah, I saw that report too. Yeah,
don't know how true that is. I think the Lakers are in a difficult position because adding LaVine, I don't know how much LaVine helps in terms of
that's fair.
In terms of their defensive woes. Number one. Number two, I really think that they need to figure out the best way to maximize AD. And maybe that is exactly what they need to put LeBron at point guard, have LaVine as the 2, and that really truly maximizes the both of them, which I think. But how does LeBron feel about, being on the ball that much? But then that's another reason to go get Chris Paul. But
I think it makes sense a little bit.
But I still wouldn't have Chris Paul starting though. That's the thing.
No. You cannot start him.
So, and then that, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But so we're all right in the Clippers. I mean, the Warriors off for dead. The Clippers too might as well. I mean, shit, I'm writing the Clippers off,
man. It's tough. Okay, look, because it's been a lot of like. I don't think this team is bad, man, but the pieces do not fit right now. And I think there is a way around it to make it salvageable. I don't think this is a championship team anymore. I don't see it. But
anymore.
Yeah.
When were they ever a championship team?
I mean, they've been in the talks for the last since they went there. I mean, it is Kawhi and PG there. Of course, it was always health. I don't think, as you can see this season, they're playing every single game, and it's not looking good. You know what I mean? I can see if one of them missed half the season so far, but they play all 16 games of this season, and you're 7-9. That's not good. It's not good at all.
I don't think there's a path forward for them personally. I think it's time. It's time to It's time to make some moves.
You want to blow it up too? I see you mean okay, the Paul George trades.
Paul George, Russ got to go. James Harden, I mean, who wants him at this point? So I would rock with Kawhi and James Harden, and then whatever other pieces I can get. Russ, it might be time for you, my boy.
If PG going, Russ is going. I don't see Russ playing anywhere else. I think Russ, I really think Russ will hang this shit up.
It's in the road.
I really think he will, and I think he should. I don't think there's no point of him going to, people on Twitter like Miami or Chicago. I don't think there's no point of going there. It's gonna look terrible. It's gonna be terrible. Like just
he try to go to Chicago and maybe run the show, give him some excitement, but at this point it's tough. It's tough.
It is. I mean, he is old too. I mean, the motherfucker, he's old. Like, he's old. He's 35. He is what it is.
And he's now, and it's not only. And the thing about Russ, it's not just the play, because it's not like he's just completely terrible. It's not like he can't play, but it's like similar to Draymond. It's like the other stuff. And obviously nobody's ever come out and said that Russ was a bad teammate. And nobody's going to say that. Nobody thinks that Russ is necessarily a bad teammate. But it is the stuff, how much people talk about you. You know how people talk about what you've got going on and your facial expressions and your body language and stuff like that. And it's when you're arguing with the fans during gameplay, and it always seems like whenever shit start going bad, you always doing some dumb shit. And it's like, bro, like, come on, bro. Come on.
It's like that Shaq meme with the camera. Like when the team playing bad, you see Russ over there doing some shit. It's like
he always doing
put
something.
The camera on him. You know what I mean?
Doing something. So it's
tough
for him. It's tough for James Harden. I mean, it's tough, and it might be his last year. Somebody might give him a better opportunity just because he's, in my opinion, a little bit of better playmaker than Russ is, especially because he can space the floor. But even then, like, he's just unreliable. And then Paul, where's Paul?
I mean, he's been playing really well this season. He had a terrible game last game. You can't go out there and score 6 points in the game and be like, go 2 for 13 and be like, oh, okay, shit, it's straight. Like, no, but he's been good this season though. Like he has been the Clippers. Honestly, he's been the Clippers' best player this season. Yeah, which is crazy, but it's not good, man.
And it's funny because the rumors of him and AD possibly teaming up in Indiana, and it would have been an interesting sight to see between the consistency between those guys, because they will give you a dud, and getting a 6-pointer from both of them would be so nasty.
It'll come at the worst time too, where everybody's watching. I swear it'll be like,
but. It's gonna get. It might be midnight for them at Christmas. I said they should probably blow it up by Christmas, but we'll see. I mean, they have obviously the only teams they've really rattled off wins against are the worst teams in the league. But they deserve the benefit of the doubt. Well, they really don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, but they do at the end of the day, just because of who they are as individuals. Right. That you give them a couple more games, but and also because Ty Lue, is a championship coach, but it's starting to look for two teams with a lot of stars, a lot of Hall of Fame players. It's looking real dark. Yeah, with the Clippers and the Warriors, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we'll see. Christmas time will tell all. Right after the in-season tournament is done, all the craze around that. It'll really start to kind of focus on what's real, because it's kind of hard to focus right now in terms of, like, obviously the Clippers, they really just been together for a few games. Draymond is kind of created a distraction for how bad the Warriors have been playing. But once all that stuff is out the way, it's gonna really start. Eyes are really gonna start getting there, and it's gonna be interesting.
When the games stack up. Hey man, shout out to the Timberwolves. Get some shout out to the Timberwolves. Number 1 seed in the West right now. They're balling. They seem to have figured it out. Even though Ant went down with an injury, we don't know how long he'll be out. But OKC, like we said, Orlando,
probably defensive player of the year, maybe thus far.
Rudy Gobert, yeah,
definitely.
I want to say he's earning his respect, but that's kind of weird to say about somebody that just got choked out. But so it's But he's doing his thing. Shout out OKC, like you said. We need to address it real quick. Obviously, there has been some rumors and there's an investigation about Josh Giddey. Out of respect for the minor and the situation and what information that we do have, not going to get into it too much because don't want to put any false accusations or anything about anybody out there. Yeah. But it's not a good look, obviously. Just to give a little bit more context and details, Josh Giddey has been accused of having some sort of relationship with a minor, and that's just about as much as we know, really.
It happened in California, and supposedly last year at some point. It's in 2022, but it's under investigation by Newport Beach PD.
Beach police, as well as the NBA, I think, have opened up an investigation. So it's
we'll see
a little bit more details, but it's not a good look at all. And stop being freak niggas. Dead ass. But with that being said, shout out Orlando too. Shout out Miami. Because we didn't say that we said that we didn't think they were going to be that good, and they've got a rookie playing well this year.
Jaume's playing well. They're on a little skid right now though, but they still have 10 wins. But yeah, I had to miss the playoffs, and it doesn't look like they'll miss the playoffs. The Hawks ain't put it together yet. Still a lot of time left, but they're inconsistent. You want to talk about inconsistent?
They're going to be an inconsistent team the whole season.
Yeah. So, and
it's going to be tough with them with small guards. It's always going to be tough with them. They got to figure it out. They got to figure out the perfect guy for Trey is probably in LA with AD, but it's going to be tough. They got to figure out the perfect star to kind of pair with him. Maybe PG. So PG. AD.
PG can come to Atlanta though. That's one trade I will approve.
He'll turn it up. But with that being said, that's a wrap for episode 14 of the Speak Up Sports Podcast, man. Appreciate y'all keeping up with us and rocking with us, man. We'll catch y'all next week with the same thing: weekly picks, weekly review. Get into a little bit about the in-season tournament. We'll also give you guys a little preview for our Pro Bowl picks, as Pro Bowl voting just opened up recently.
Yes, sir.
And we'll catch y'all next week, man.